And we back today. We're looking at so look, I'm not gonna struggle with the names, man. You know the Island Boys got the names, but it's Marist Liufau. You know what I'm saying? That's his name. That's what we're gonna call it for the duration of the film session here. So Marist Liufau. What I really like about the player is, you know, well, first of all, let me say this: Notre Dame had him doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I think his 2022 film is the most, you know, that's the best film you can watch because his role kind of gets refined a little bit. But Notre Dame lets him do some safety stuff. They put him at corner. He does some like kicking teams things. He does linebacker stuff. He deals with, you know, blocks and all this kind of stuff, blitzing and rushing off the edges. Mike Will and Sam linebacker. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. I think on the next level here with the Cowboys, I think that work is going to be limited to him being basically a will side linebacker, and I think he can do some of that hybrid safety stuff. We'll kind of figure it out whenever whenever we get him into training camp. But this is what I like about him the most. You're going to see him transition between two phases, okay? It's going to be a transition of I am a smart and patient cerebral player that reads my keys. I'm high on instinct and I can deal with your run game stuff. And then after that, he's just going to transition into a missile that just runs down and tears shit up. And it's going to be real interesting when I show y'all some of these pics of these clips. So take a look at him here, right? Kind of reading his keys, got the right tackle pulling. So a little dart play. And the first thing that they teach you in football school is, hey, you know, if there's a puller, kind of go in that direction because you want guys to follow blocks. Okay. And he's just going to, you know, communicate with his guys. I think he has the ability to be green dot type guy, right? But then you got these plays where you got Marist is just coming up field tearing stuff up. Okay. Now in real life, do I want him dealing with offensive linemen a whole bunch? No, not really. I don't want him doing the O-line shuffle where he's always dealing with these bigger guys. But every now and then, if we could just catch some of these dudes slipping, Marist does have speed to just line up on the interior and beat the hell out of somebody. He also got reps lined up outside, man. But we don't just let's keep it concise, okay? Let's blitz him sometimes. I think Notre Dame did, you know, they did a little bit of misusing of him, and you know, we get that every single year with these different colleges, man. Schools are just misusing players a lot. And I just think refine his role and let him fly. You see some patience right here. He's reading what's in front of him. He's going to go get downhill. There's a blocking threat in front of him. He's not going to get too, you know, caught up on that block in front of him. He's going to use his arms with some solid arm length, by the way. Right. And then he's going to get off of that possible block and go and make a play on the ball carrier. Fantastic stuff. And then the very next play, you see him do some missile type stuff where he's getting downhill. He's finding Caleb Williams, and oh Lordy mercy. Please tap into the patreon.com/vochlombardi. We're going to be watching this film in particular. There was a point where Notre Dame figured out, hey, we should just come after Caleb Williams. And a big part of them putting pressure on Caleb Williams was Marist Liufau being a pass rusher slash, you know, pass rusher, quarterback spy type character. That was a big role for him. And I can see that. I can see him doing that on the next level too. Just letting him be a dude to just chase these mobile quarterbacks around, but putting them open in space. And this pick that was thrown, I credit that to Marist because it was because of this pressure. It was because of him, you know, not over engaging or over, you know, pursuing that made him able to stay in front of Caleb, get his hands up and make Caleb rush that throw a little bit. And then we get a little more patience right here, right? And it's funny seeing the transition between it. You know, when he's doing Mike linebacker stuff, that's when he's more patient. When it's in the play design for him to blitz and get upfield, he's a firecracker. He's tearing shit up. And the one thing that him and Marshawn Nealon got in common, you hear the coaches talking about it on .com right now. Y'all go check them out. Is, you know, they're high energy players, and energy is infectious, man. Take a look at Marist being patient right here, figuring out what's going on. We got a fake little handoff, a fake little motion, but he's going to diagnose that run and get on the other side of that blocker and deal with the nonsense here. Let's take a look at Marist and see what he did on this play. A little more patience, but once the ball gets to the outside, go and be a missile and just deliver a blow on somebody. I am such a fan of this kid. I like how the long hair hangs out the helmet, looking like a lion. Just more violence. Just here, sir. Just more violence. Oh, I just love a defender, one that has the instincts to see things and to navigate some of these plays. But boy, I just love it when these guys are also missiles. Sometimes those dudes come in two different packages. You know, the player that's a super athlete. I don't know if Marist is a super athlete, but he's a really good athlete, right? These linebackers or these players that are athletes, they may not be the cerebral type, or the cerebral guys may not be the athletes. I love a missile and I love a smart linebacker, man. He gives you the best of both worlds. Look at him punching right here. Look at him punching right here. Now, he ain't punching DeJuan Jones right there, because DeJuan Jones is a grown ass man right there. You feel what I'm talking about? So stay away from DeJuan, Mark. You know, we don't want you to get hurt. This character's a beast, okay? But hey, if they're gonna because you're a linebacker, you're mostly gonna go against linebackers. Go against running backs, tight ends, you know, crack down receivers or whatever. Cool. We're gonna punch and extend on you, and we're gonna go and get some work on the ball carrier there, man. Big fan of Marist, man. I feel like I talked about him on Patreon before. I feel like I have talked about him before on my Patreon. Hey, I told y'all, hey man, be tapped into the Patreon, man. Patreon get busy. It was him and our UCLA guy. They both got the Island Boy names or whatever, so I kind of get it mixed up. But I know linebacker Notre Dame and linebacker UCLA. They're both similar kind of guys. The guys that read it well, they instinct it really well, and they get downhill real fast. Hey, if we're doubling up on linebacker, I would love to get the cat from UCLA. Don't even ask me to remember his name. Anyway, take a look at him right here, coming downhill, dealing with the blocks, and just putting pressure on the quarterback. I think all this is going to be something that the Cowboys do. There are going to be pressure packages put together for Marist, but also we drafted Overshown last year. I think there's going to be pressure packages for Overshown. So, I can see this world where you got linebackers on the field, Micah Parsons, Overshown, Marist. I think they all got some kind of pass rush in them, whether it be from A gap, B gap, or whatever. Take a look at this play right here, boy. Diagnosing it, reading his keys, right? He reads these keys immediately. See these pullers here and here. They're gonna go, and you see him pointing, communicating. That's why I think he has some upside as green dot guy. He's very similar to Overshown in that way. You know, I don't want to be lazy because Overshown is a Cowboy now, but some of these small traits, I think he's very similar to him in that way. So that's something to just keep an eye on there. But communicating, right? You know, being the guy to be like, hey man, they running counter, they running power, they running trap, they running midline, they're running darts. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful with that. But Marist reading it, getting to it patiently slowing it down, dealing with all the nonsense up in here. Then once he sees the ball carrier, he turns on those jets and goes to be a missile again and make the play. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a fan of the kid. I'm a fan of the kid, and I know some Cowboy fans was a little upset because they didn't know the name / they wanted Peyton Wilson. And look, both of those are, I guess, valid reasons to be upset, but don't be upset too long. Marist, I'll run some film while we up here talking. Marist Liufau, is a dude, man. He is a dude. Now, let's just talk about like the realistic expectations here, because y'all will hear me hype him up and y'all will think that he's a first round linebacker or something like that. No, I don't think that's the case, but I think that he fell in the draft because he got some bad tape on he has some bad tape out, but that's because they had him doing goofy stuff, man. They'll actually line him up and, you know, as a regular defensive end and just constantly rush him. They'll put him at safety and just have him running around in space. They'll put him at nickel corner and tell him to run around with somebody fast. That ain't what he does. Even though for a linebacker, I do think he has some really good upside as a cover guy. He can cover right now. I think he's a really good cover dude, zone and man right now, because he's athletic enough and he's smart enough to do it. But I think, you know, his cover thing is going to be limited in the league as opposed to it is in college. You don't want him in man coverage versus some route running gangster. That ain't the vision for the player. But Chad, I'll tell you what, man, if there is a vision for the player, I think linebacker got a little bit bigger and linebacker got a little bit more you know, got a little bit, you know, smarter. When we talk about Overshown, we talk about Marist, and especially with Eric Kendricks there, we're talking about like some smart dudes, man. We're just talking about dudes that diagnose it and they get it done and they figure it all out. Let me see if I can find the measurables on our guy Marist Liufau. Okay, he is 6'2", 234 pounds, which is 20 pounds bigger than what you were last year at will linebacker here. 34 and a 1/4 inch arm, so he can go play offensive line if you need him to, and a 79-inch wingspan there. That's some arm length. That's some arm length. That's some athleticism. That's some intelligence. That's some pretty good size, man. So, you know, I know a lot of people may be down on the player, but Voch ain't. All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Y'all hold down for Doski Woski. Like I said, y'all be tapped in for the draft coverage I'm going to be giving y'all all day today and the rest of the week. I know we got the day 3 guys. I'm going to break those dudes down. And I know we got the undrafted characters. We're going to have film on those dudes also, assuming I can find film on those guys also. And tap into the Patreon, patreon.com/vochlombardi. Everything that you see on the YouTube, there's more of it on the Patreon. All right. Peace, man.